General, I think we're rolling now.
Yeah. All right, well, in that case, hello everybody and welcome to Know Thy Enemy with Baxter and The General.
Know thy enemy.
I'm the General, as you all know, because I'm a famous person, and I'm joined here with my good friend, Howard T. Baxter. From Completely Unbiased News.
Completely Unbiased News. Catch us on Baxter and The General on our YouTube channel. And...
Which, you're already there.
You are already there.
So this always decided to start like a little podcast type thing, and we're going to explore different cryptids and monsters and all kinds of things from all different sources, real life, folklore, fiction, you name it. So if you think of something you'd like us to cover in the future, go down to the comments, let us know. It's a good chance we'll cover it. So anyway, go ahead.
Check out The General on TikTok.
Oh, yeah. And before we start anything, I want to, address the elephant in the room here. If it looks like I'm melting, it's because I'm a fat man in the summertime, all right? That's just getting that out of the way. We're in a shed.
There's not a lot of money in Completely Unbiased News.
No.
And you could really help us out by subscribing to the YouTube channel and watching our stuff so we're not in this hot garage anymore.
We got our Patreon, too. That'll help.
Yeah, go check it out.
Please.
It'll be in the descriptions below.
Anything. A fan would be nice.
Well, we had a fan.
It broke, didn't it? All right, so for our pilot episode here for this little podcast thing, we're going to talk about the bunnyman. It's
the bunnyman.
The bunnyman, yes.
Is that different than the Western bunny?
It's very different from the Western bunny. So the bunnyman is one of the weirdest cryptid / urban legends that I've come across.
Where does he live?
Fairfax County, Virginia. And so basically, this whole thing started in Fairfax County, Virginia in 1970, all right? And ever since then... 1970. And since then, it's spread to Washington, D.C. and into areas of Maryland, like that whole area.
It's hibernating.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Is this a creature?
It's kind of. It's a conundrum is what it is, Baxter, I'm not going to lie. So, okay.
I like this.
So this legend, it's got many different variations on very different styles that it comes out. But almost all of them involve a dude wearing a bunny costume while holding an axe.
Wow.
So there are only 2 confirmed recorded incidents involving the bunnyman.
Wow.
However... this has spread, so it's, lots of secondary things. But the 2 main ones that started it, 2 vandalism reports that occurred 10 days apart in 1970 in Burke, Virginia.
I haven't been there before.
Nor have I. So, here, I'm going to actually read this because this is fascinating.
I've gone through Virginia before, but there's not a lot there.
There's plenty there. Arlington Cemetery.
Mountains and trees.
Mountains and trees? What? No mountains and trees. It's the Appalachians.
Well, where did you go? I'll go there.
Norfolk.
Okay.
That's pretty cool.
I'll write it down.
So the first incident was reported the evening of October 19th, 1970 by U.S. Air Force Academy cadet Robert Bennett and his fiancée, who were visiting relatives on Guinea Road in Burke, Virginia. All right. Around midnight, while returning from a football game, they reportedly parked their car in a field on Guinea Road to, and I'm quoting here, visit an uncle who lived across the street from where the car was parked. They were banging. They were involved in inappropriate activity.
There's a little bit of a hanky-panky.
Little bit of hanky-panky.
Hanky-panky. YouTube appropriate.
Yeah. So, as they sat in the front seat with the motor running, He noticed something moving outside the rear window. He turned around and he saw something moving outside the rear window.
In the rear window.
And it was a guy wearing all white. And he was like, oh, shit, somebody wearing all white right there. And so she turned around. She saw the person too. They start walking towards the front of the car, and the window gets smashed in.
Smashed in the window.
So they freak out. He gets the car. He turns it around. He starts driving away, and he looks out, and he sees this guy. The white he saw was a bunny costume with floppy bunny ears. And then once they got some miles away from the location, they stopped, and they found there was actually a hatchet laying in the floor of the car. So this guy broke the window and threw a hatchet in. And while he was driving away, I'm gonna get the actual quote here. The man screamed at them about trespassing, including, "You're on private property, and I have your tag number."
Tag number.
So,
wow.
when the police requested a description of the man, Bennett insisted that he was wearing a white suit with long bunny ears. However, Bennett's fiancée contested that the assailant did not have bunny ears on his head. But instead was wearing like some sort of just white suit and like a white hat. So,
wow.
Even right there, like even amongst these two, there is discrepancies as to whether or not this guy was actually wearing a bunny suit or not.
A lot of misinformation.
So they both remember seeing his face in the dark, but neither of them could remember it well enough to assist with a police sketch. So...
Can you imagine the police trying to do a sketch? Like, they're just like, you know...
It's just like a cartoon, like it's just Bugs Bunny. Bugs Bunny with an axe.
There's bunny ears.
So the police examined the hatchet, and then they just gave it back to the Bennett guy.
They gave them the murder weapon?
Gave him the murder weapon back, yeah. All right, so the second reported sighting happened on the evening of October 29th, so I think it was 10 days later. Yeah, 10 days later. There was a construction security guard, Paul Phillips, approached a man on the porch of an unfinished home in a Kings Park West on Guinea Road, so the same road.
But why?
Well, it was an unfinished home. They were building a bunch of different homes there, and somebody was trespassing. This guy was hired to keep the ne'er-do-wells out of this new housing complex they were building.
Ne'er-do-wells.
Ne'er-do-wells.
I like that.
And so Phillips approaches the guy, and he said that he was wearing a gray, black, and white bunny costume. Was about 20 years old, 5 foot 8 inches tall, and weighed about 175 pounds.
The bunny?
The bunny, yes.
How can he deduce all of that just from one...
He's a security guard, is what he does, I guess.
Fair point.
So the bunny man began chopping at a porch post with a long-handled axe, saying, "You are trespassing. If you come any closer, I'll chop off your head." And so,
my God.
So he managed to chase the bunny man off and save the porch, but they had to replace the porch post apparently. He was just yelling at a house and just chopping at it. So the Fairfax County Police opened investigations into both incidents, but both were eventually closed for lack of evidence, because the only evidence they had was somebody saying, "Yeah, I was doing a bunny costume with an axe." That said, the newspapers went crazy with it. So all over the state, there was a ton of different stories about this bunny man terrorizing people, including... one where the Washington Post reported that the bunny man had eaten a man's runaway cat.
My God.
Like I said, this one is so freaking weird. All right, so this next bit is going to be a direct quote from, well, I'm going to be paraphrasing a bit, but it's an article called "The Real Life Origins of an Urban Legend" by Brian A. Conley, who is a historian archivist with the Fairfax County Public Library.
What is an archivist?
An archivist is somebody who archives.
Very good to know. I was, kind of disappointed. I was expecting some sort of long-winded explanation of, it sounds like something like an Indiana Jones type of...
Sure, yeah, we'll give him a hat and a whip and just put him in the library and let him...
I'm super excited.
All right, so the Fairfax County Police Department has no official record of the October 18th assault. So even right there, there's just discrepancy because it was October 19th. So all these stories are all kind of hooky spooky and all over the place. So the October 19th assault on Robert Bennett and his fiancee, but they do have an actual investigation report relating to the October 29th vandalism incident. Although the FCPD is not required to release any information relating to the misdemeanor offenses, they kindly supplied a redacted copy of the report for this guy's project. So this thing is redacted. There's like stuff that they don't want you to know. Mysteries. Intrigue.
Biased news.
Biased news. So, the investigation report confirms the basics of an event as told in the October 31st Washington Post article. At 10:30 p.m. on October 29th, 1970, 6 officers responded to 5307 Guinea Road for a subject dressed as a rabbit with an axe. The officers found no rabbit, and the case was turned over to investigator W.L. Johnson of the Criminal Investigation Bureau. Johnson began with a visit to the construction offices of the Kings Park West subdivision on October 31st. He found no rabbit, but did receive a call shortly after his visit from someone who worked at Kings Park West. The caller claimed to have just received a telephone call from somebody identifying himself as the Axeman. The Axeman allegedly said, "Mr. Blank, you have been messing up my property by dumping tree stumps, limbs, and brush, and other things on the property." The Axeman further stated that you can make everything right by meeting me tonight and talking about the situation. The representative from Kings Park West stated that the caller sounded to be a white male in his late teens or early 20s. The police set up a stakeout, but the Axeman never showed up. So there's something to this. There was somebody who was probably a neighbor pissed about the property, about them building this new housing complex, and he just decided to take things into his own hands. And he was already pissed off. Somebody was necking in his field.
Created the bunnyman.
So he created the bunnyman. Now, whether or not he's actually wearing a bunny costume is kind of a sort of contention.
Up for debate.
Right. But I just find that absolutely fascinating. So, on November 4th, investigator Johnson received a call from a resident of the area who informed him that her son claimed to know the identity of the bunnyman. She stated that some of the neighborhood children who have seen or been with the bunnyman described him as an older teenager. Johnson interviewed the son, who was aged 8, and eventually learned that he had not actually met the bunnyman, but had only heard of the bunnyman at school from the rest of the children talking about him, end quote. Interviews with other neighborhood children had similar results. So all these kids are now saying, I know who the bunnyman is, trying to look cool to all their friends. And then the police get involved, and they're like, who's the bunnyman? They're like, I don't know who the bunnyman is.
They start slapping everybody.
Yeah, just smacking these kids around. So on March 14th, 1971...
Allegedly.
Johnson wrote the following summary. After a very extensive investigation into this and all of the other cases of the same nature, it is still unsubstantiated as to whether or not there really is a white rabbit.
Sounds interesting.
It's interesting. It's a little fishy. It's very, very different. So the case is currently marked as inactive. Meaning they never found anybody and they have nothing to go on, so they just kind of are letting it lie. It's just a cold case that they really can't move forward with.
I wonder if it was actually the Western bunny.
I doubt it, because the Western bunny used a pipe wrench.
This is correct.
As seen here. Wasn't that fun? All right, so here's a couple of stories from history that they think that perhaps the bunnyman is some
ghost
or spirit that is related to some murders from earlier on.
Ancient Greek history.
Not quite ancient Greek, but it is slightly older. We're talking about the 40s, the 20s, the teens. But
1940s.
So
detective work.
Again, this is direct quote from this fella's article here. It would be hard to imagine a more disturbing event for a growing community like Fairfax than the gruesome murders of 37-year-old Frances Holober and her 8-month daughter, June. On Thursday, February 24th, 1949, Mrs. Holober and her daughter drove to Fairfax County. Fairfax County.
Starting to sound like me now.
Yeah, I was on repeat there for a second. In the company of her estranged husband, Charles. All were residents of D.C. Charles Holober later told police that he had come to see the new lodge at a nudist colony to which Mr. Holober belonged.
Nudist colonies.
This whole thing is so freaking weird. All of it.
Never been to a nudist colony.
Oh, I've been to tons. It's a good way to see a lot of cock.
I suppose.
Upon leaving the lodge, the car became mired in some mud. So the guy immediately leaves the dick and balls community and gets his car stuck in the mud. So the couple quarreled and Mrs. Holober... Oh, she was with them. I didn't realize that. So the couple quarreled and Mrs. Holober took the child and walked away from her husband and never returned. Charles Holober spent the night in the car and got a ride back to Washington the next day. He returned with his brother-in-law and friend to retrieve the car, still finding no evidence of his family. The police were finally notified. An intensive search of the area was organized involving Fairfax County Police, Washington detectives, and the Boy Scouts. About 5 o'clock p.m., just as the searchers were about to give up for the night, some of the detectives noted that the ground on which they were standing was very soft. Both mother and daughter, right? Both mother and daughter
could it be mud?
Both mother and daughter were found in a shallow grave next to the lodge and less than 200 yards from where Charles Holober's car had been stuck. Frances Holober had been beaten and then shot once in the head and once in the heart.
Oh my goodness.
The baby girl had been buried alive.
Oh my goodness.
Right. So...
This got dark, General.
600 feet from the car. So he was right there within, like, sight distance of them getting killed.
So the guy, the nudes in the car witnessed this happening.
No. But it was right down the street from where the nudes were.
Like on the other side of some trees or something.
Quite possibly, yes.
So they're the witnesses.
There were no witnesses is the problem.
So this is just a happenstance.
Just a happenstance. It just happened that close.
It just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Wow!
Yes. So basically, nothing much ever came of it, but they were saying that it's interesting that there is that sort of crazy murder history in the area. There's other such stories like Minnie Loretta and Catherine Ridgway in March of 1927. They were both killed in the same area. Ava Roy in August of 1918. There's a whole history of violent murders in the area. And that leads some people to theorize that the bunnyman is a vengeful spirit that has been killing people throughout history in this area. And so a lot of these things happen at like secluded Lover's Lane type locations, little areas where people go necking. And a lot of even the modern stories, even up through the 80s and even into modern day, people who go to these locations will report seeing a man dressed in a white bunny costume with an axe. However, a lot of these people are folks that just want, their 10 minutes of fame and putting a news story out. Or some of them, who knows, maybe some do see it. Maybe it is an actual thing, and maybe there are people out there dressing up as a white bunny just to scare the britches off some people.
Could also be, YouTube content creators that need content. So here we are at this place. Look at me.
We were out in the woods fighting a white bunny costume person.
Yeah, but that's the Western bunny.
That's a real thing.
That's real.
Real life.
Check out all of our episodes where we're hunting down real monsters like Western bunny and the Greer.
The Greer was terrifying. The Greer had a very interesting gait when he walked.
The Greer.
Very distinct odor to him too.
A gait?
Very weird gait, kind of this weird loping.
I suppose. Maybe we'll do an entire episode one day.
He walked like somebody with some sort of neurological damage or something. Like and he had this scent. It was like beef and cheese.
Santa's favorite. This all makes sense now.
All right, so now we're gonna cover. So now that we know thy enemy,
we know thy enemy.
We're going to get into
bunnyman.
How to defend yourself if you are ever in Fairfax County, Virginia, and you come across the bunnyman. So this is a 5'8" dude, which same height as me, so not very tall.
I'm taller than him.
You are taller than him by about an inch, right?
So I could take him out.
You could probably thrash a bunnyman.
I've been in some bar fights.
Yeah, sure you have. So, basically what you're going to want to do if you are accosted by a bunny man.
Run.
First off, run. As with any sort of monster or any sort of fight you come across.
Any sort of martial art. The first thing.
First thing, try and disengage and get away. Mm-hmm. Because the point of knowing how to fight is to try and avoid a fight at all costs.
And to know when to not be a hero.
Yes. So if an altercation with a bunny man is inevitable and you cannot get away, you're cornered, or they are trying to threaten somebody you're with or something like that, and you have to intervene, first thing you're going to want to do is try and disarm them of the axe, because they usually do have an axe. Now, there's many different ways you could do this. You can throw a carrot at them. Being a large rabbit, they're going to try and get the carrot, probably.
Throw a carrot at it.
Throw a carrot at it, see if you can get it to drop the axe to pick up the carrot. Or you can just manhandle it, get the axe out of the way. It is a dude wearing a bunny costume, so he's not going to have great visibility.
The only person I can think of is, it's too bad you're not Clive Owen. In the movie Shoot 'Em Up, the guy was always eating carrots. He's a guy that always has carrots, so he could defeat the bunny man that way.
His eyesight must be phenomenal.
My God, you're right. Vitamin C?
It's carotene.
It's not vitamin C?
No.
That's good for the eyes? Oh, vitamin A is good for the eyes.
Something.
Right?
Sure.
General, you're supposed to know these things.
I don't know that shit. I don't know vitamins.
What are vitamins?
I know monsters, damn it. So
check it out. Shoot 'Em Up. It's a good movie.
Once you get the axe out of the way, just beat his ass. He's just...
And he can't hop away from you because he's not actually a bunny.
Right.
Like the Western bunny is a bunny.
The West bunny's a bunny.
As far as we know.
Real bouncy, real speedy. This is a dude wearing a white bunny costume.
He's a man.
So he's going to be a little bit clumsy. He's going to be tripping all over himself. You know, you get little footies on there. He's going to be hard, especially with the big feet on the bunny costume. So, like, you ever try walking with, like, scuba flippers? It's very difficult.
I can't swim.
It's unfortunate.
I know.
You want to take a trip down to the docks? We're going to show you something down there.
I don't know. Last time we went to the docks, we saw a pirate.
We met a pirate down there.
We did meet a pirate.
We did meet a pirate.
And I don't know why I sounded disappointed, just because it was awesome.
It was pretty cool.
But he's not in a pirate ship, so I was a little disappointed. But so even the mask, like, say this is, these are the ears.
Yeah.
And you're like...
Yeah, down in the face, and you got to think if it's a big bunny head. If it is just the ears, yeah, the ears are going to be distracting. But if it's a big bunny head, you got to think you're going to got to have like that much.
You could grab the eyes, or you could grab the. You could grab the eyes, but you can grab the ears
and pull it down and just right in the knee. Hell yeah, take him out. Basically, the way to defeat a bunny man is just beat his ass until there's very little ass left.
This is great.
Yeah, it's honestly one of the easier cryptids to take out. You have something like a Mothman that can. Blast you with laser eyes and give you conjunctivitis and fly away. You know, that's difficult. Do you know that the Mothman, that when he stares at you with his laser eyes, he can actually give you pink eye?
No, but
we'll cover that in another episode.
So
Yeah, so basically you just got to be able to overpower a bunnyman. It's a 5'8" dude, 175 pounds, so he's not the scrawniest dude, but he's also not the biggest dude. You just got to make sure that you are able to get the benefit in the fight, which ultimately will revolve around the fact that he is in a bunny costume and you are not. Bunny costumes are usually kind of baggy, plenty of areas to grab on, to yank him around and stuff like that, and usually the big, giant, floppy feet and everything. Plus the ears you can grab and pull his head down. Ultimately, that's how you do it. That's how I would do it if I ever came across a bunnyman. We should take a drive down to Fairfax County and see if we can find a bunnyman. Kick his ass.
Leave a comment below. Would you like us to hunt the bunnyman?
That'd be a good day trip. Not Fairfax County, well, day trip.
Put a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Or a thumbs down if you don't want us to go down.
Yeah.
We could get killed.
Well, that's about all I got on the bunnyman right there.
So in summary,
some dude who is probably out of his gourd, like just crazy.
so some guy in the woods.
So, now, mind you, we got that dude that lives down the road from us, not too far. He's got that house that has all the writing on it and everything.
You're right. Yeah.
He
Crazy guy.
will sometimes go out and be painting on cars and the outside of his house and stuff while wearing a clown costume. So obviously it is a man who is very unwell in the head. So my thought is that the bunnyman, it's the same idea. It's some neighbor that probably owned the field where these two were naked, and he was probably pissed off and just had some sort of a psychotic break, or he was getting ready to watch some movie about rabbits and he just felt like maybe he was already in the bunny costume for his own nefarious reasons.
Some kind of weird fetish.
Some kind of weird fetish. This guy was like, I can't get off unless bunnies are involved.
Some old Easter bunny costume.
Yes.
Maybe he was celebrating Easter. Did this take place around Easter?
This took place in October.
Maybe this was a Halloween costume.
This took place very close to Halloween. It was October 19th and October 29th. I hadn't thought of that. That's actually very smart.
Could be a Halloween.
This guy was probably some local that was planning on attending some bar or some sort of costume contest dressed as a bunny. He was in the process of making this bunny costume, which is why it was all white on the 19th, and then it was black, white, and gray on the 29th. He'd had more time to put it together, maybe.
Yeah, he could paint it.
And he was all excited about this costume, like, oh, I'm going to have the coolest costume at this costume party. And then he saw this car running out in his field, and so he goes, oh, I'm going to go out there and scare the bejesus out of these people and get them off my property. And so he scares them off, and then he sees these houses being built down the street, and he notices that they're throwing all these stumps and stuff from the property probably into some little corner of his property where they, the contractors thought it was just, open area. They just dump some stumps. And so he goes and he's going to try and chop down some of the stuff, do some vandalism, just vent his frustrations. And if anybody shows up, he's in his bunny costume, try and scare the bejesus out of them. And it has kind of worked because to this day, the bunnyman sightings are still happening. There is a little culvert, like where it's a tunnel, where I didn't get the name of it, but it's a railroad, like it's a tunnel where a road goes underneath a railroad. And to this day,
if you could find that, look it up. Leave it in the comments below.
Yes, please do.
Where's this what'd you say it was?
Culvert.
This culvert.
It's a tunnel. It's a tunnel.
Look up the tunnel.
But to this day, it's called Bunnyman Bridge. Like people collectively call it Bunnyman Bridge because a lot of the sightings happen right around there. So
wow.
So this guy was probably just trying to be the belle of the ball at the Halloween party coming up. Scared the shit out of some people wearing a bunny costume with an axe, and then just to this day, it's a cryptid that people are still seeing. But it's that idea of if you want to see something, you are more likely to see it. If you are more open to like alien abductions, your chances of seeing aliens, same with ghosts, stuff like that. So I'm sure a lot of these sightings are either people that want their 10 minutes of fame, or they think that they're seeing something that's not actually there.
Humans see patterns. So
yes, often in places where there are no patterns to be seen.
Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, this equals this equals this.
Yep,
it must be the bunnyman.
Mm-hmm. And so a lot of cryptids are in that same vein where it is people seeing something they want to see. However, some of them are very difficult to explain. This one, I think, is pretty easy to explain away as just...
Well, we just did it.
Some dude who was unwell. Like, we together we came up with a pretty damn good theory as to what it actually was. And so...
Very old desk. Be careful. It's great unbiased news grandfather.
No, it's just, this is the unbiased news desk.
This is unbiased news.
This is the unbiased desk.
News desk.
So, but yeah, it
Unbiased.
But ultimately, it just comes down to some crazy kook that was trying to scare some people away with an axe, and he just decided to wear a bunny costume when he did it.
And it worked.
Like, yeah, it's a story to this day. Like, it's in all the... You have all, like, the cryptid handbooks and stuff like that you get from places.
Cryptid handbooks.
I do have one. It's cool stuff. The professor actually gave it to me.
So the professor. Oh, he's at the Dead Sea, probably.
Probably.
So what's the Dead Sea?
Hunting Pootie Tang.
Hunting Pootie Tang.
Yeah, so it... Ultimately, this one is one of the easier ones to really dive into and explain away. But in the future, we're going to look into much more complicated ones like the Mothman, the melon heads, which that one might be a little easier. But the fact that people are still seeing the melon heads to this day is a little concerning because that's right down the road from us.
Melon heads.
But yeah, so that's about all I got. So thanks for joining us on this.
Okay.
Hopefully you learned something. If we got something wrong, or if you know something that we don't, let us know in the comments.
Or if you've been there.
If you have a story about an experience or somebody that you know, or a story that you know of with the bunnyman, tell us, because that'd be really cool. I'm sure every so often we'll do an episode where we talk about like some of our favorite comments that we get. We talk about some of the different stories people.
100%. Or if you have a bunny costume.
Or if you have a bunny costume.
Tell us in the comments below. What color is it?
Yeah.
Or
are you the bunnyman?
Are you the bunnyman? Are you the bunnyman? And then, as always, right here on the screen, check out our next episode when we get it. And then over here, or right here, perhaps, check out the playlist.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this.
Yeah, like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Let us know what you like. Let us know what you don't like. Let us know other stuff you want us to cover. Check out our Patreon.
Oh, yep. All the
We're
stuff
sick of this hot shed.
The links are in the description below.
Yes, they are.
Links are in the description below. And yeah, I love Baxter and The General. Check it out. Check us out. Check out all the stuff. Different things.
You know what I love? I love the good people of Fairfax County, Virginia, who are getting terrified and terrorized by some maniac in a bunny costume. By God, he must be stopped.
And exploited.
Exploited by us.
Yes.
Bye.
Goodbye.